Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for coming to my channel and for subscribing and for clicking the notification bell and for liking my videos. Thank you. Today I wanted to tell you about the covert narcissist, and the covert narcissist is the one that abuses people indoors. Let's say it's not obvious. That's what I mean. If you meet that person, it's a regular Joe, like it could be a normal person, a bit humble, even humble, not on social media, doesn't have Instagram usually, or if it has, those are pictures of others. It's not necessarily, you don't perceive them as the other type, the grandiose, which is so obvious, and the abuse is bullying and direct bullying and yelling and all that. The covert narcissist is the type that you don't know. Relationships with a covert narcissist can be long relationships, and after 15-20 years there are people that are in relationships, romantic relationships with them for years and years, and it's near the end that they realize what's going on. You don't know what's going on. You are very confused, and if you're going through that, you may feel like a lot of identity loss. You feel like you don't know who you are anymore, like you don't bring any value to the table anymore, because they are not giving you that. Like they are never and it's not obvious. They won't say like, oh, you are the worst kind of person in the world. No, they will say maybe nice things occasionally, so that's what disguises you. Like what's I don't understand. They're nice and loving sometimes, but then they are this blaming people that they blame. That's the key. They blame everything on you, and they are the victims always. So they are always portraying themselves as victims, and this is terrible because, and they are always longing for how good they would be if it weren't for what you did to them, what they whoever did to them, or what if it weren't for this thing that happened, I wouldn't be in this position. And they always you see them as needing help, and they are victims of somebody else. If they are always criticizing people and how wrong they did to them and all that, that's a red flag right there. They are very self-referential. They are always talking about themselves, and you notice that if you pay attention, the conversations always are about them. Everything is about them. So they're very sensitive to criticism, in the sense that they think everything is about them. The difference with the grandiose type is that they can access some sort of guilt and shame, but they deal with that by blaming others. And so when they blame others, they get rid of the accountability, and of things that they should have done themselves to make things better. So, and that's how we all usually progress in life, and we realize it's your fault in some cases, and you take it and you change your behavior. And these people, they don't do that. Like, everything is the other person's fault. So if you're living with a covert narcissist, you will feel like you did many things wrong, and that you are not doing anything right. And this person, you feel like, but they love me, but I don't understand. What they do is they keep you there, and they give you crumbs, the little crumbs, so that you're still there, and you can give them their narcissistic supply, which is to make you feel less than, so that they can feel more than, so by criticizing you and all that, they get to, they feed their ego and all their grandiosity. And so Yeah, covert narcissist can be very, very dangerous because it's a continuum narcissism. So once it's in the higher level of narcissism, covert narcissism, it blends with psychopathy and it can become pretty damaging. So yes, they are resentful, they have a lot of hatred inside, and they do, when the grandiose compares, downward social comparison, they do a downward social comparison. Like the grandiose would say, an overt grandiose would say, I'm so much more than you, you're less than me. And then the covert narcissist will do an upward social comparison, in the sense that they're always looking up and saying, oh, I want to have, they are very envious of power, of hierarchy. They despise hierarchy, and so they're always looking up to people and saying, I want that they have, but in a very resentful and envious way. But they hide it, they will never say that. So that's what makes them be so dangerous, because they can, if they start to be delusional and really believe in what they're saying, well, they are delusional because they believe that everything is your fault, which is not. Let me tell you, it's not. So it's impossible that it's your fault, everything that happens to them is your fault. There has to be some accountability on a person, a healthy person. They can be very dangerous in the sense that they can even cheat, steal, lie, anything to get what they want, or to regain that sense of, they owe me, so I have to do this because they owe me, and they, sort of a revenge. It's very, very damaging, and that's when it hits the higher level of narcissism. I say higher level, but it's a continuum. They are prone to obsessions, they are prone to depression, and sometimes you start treating them for depression and you don't see anything, they're not getting any better, and then you realize it's because there's a narcissistic personality disorder beneath that depression, and they are always the victim, and they love being the victim, and they are always in the midst of drama, and they are blaming people, but not in the way that everybody will notice that they're, you're always criticizing, come on. No, they do it in such a smart way. They have a PhD in hypocracy, and they are like masters at that. Very hypocrite, and they would go and say, oh no, he did this to me because he, but don't blame him, because he has problems, so it's okay, but he nearly killed me because he did this terrible thing to me, but don't blame him because he, they're always trying to appear as good people, and they are the ones that you can call, and they can be very helpful sometimes, in that they can appear when they're trying, because there's a cycle. So at the first moment of for example, a romantic relationship, there's love bombing, and then that's the part when they call it love bombing, or the one where they are trying to lure you into, to attract you. They will appear as very humble and usually helpful, and they will listen to everything you say, and they will be so interested in you, and they're basically getting all the information from you. So, and then the cycle continues with idealizing, and they idealize you, and so you're the best, and they believe that they are obsessed with you, and you go everywhere with them, and you're like the perfect match, and they mirror you, so they get many of your qualities and they mirror you those qualities, and say that you're very much into them too, and then they start to devalue you along the years, many years, and it could happen many times during the years, but as it progresses, it gets worse. So you start to notice, like, well, along the timeline, like 10 years, 15, 20 years later, and it gets worse, and so they are not getting any narcissistic supply from you, so that's when the problem begins to see more clearly. That's when you start getting the discard phase, when you're in the discard phase, because then before that, that's devaluing. They devalue you. You start to feel like anything that you do is good for them, that you do everything wrong, that there's no way you can be what you used to be for them, and you double the bet, let's say. Like you start to do more things to make them feel better, and they maybe take one of them and then they give you less every time. It's not equal, it's not a balanced relationship. And so you are the one that is doing everything and you're not seeing any results. It's like, you're dealing with a wall basically, and everything you do is not being recognized or even acknowledged. And there's also a silent treatment there, and they just ignore you and they do about their lives, which is the time when they are securing other sources of supply, and other people, and they cheat, and that part, and then there's the discard phase, when one day they say, okay, that's it, I'm out of here, in the best case. But if not, they discard you and they still have you there so that they can obtain their narcissistic supply. Especially in the discard phase, they can be very, very cruel and damaging, because it's one day, like it happens overnight. And you see the sign, it's progressing, because before that they devalue you a lot. Like, it's painful, and that's where the abuse happens, and at its peak, I would say, because that's so damaging for the victim. Let's say survivor, because that sounds much better. And yes, and you feel like there's no way out, and you don't understand what's going on, and you thought that somebody loved you, but you suddenly realize that they don't. Like, it's all they want is their narcissistic supply. They want that they take from you. They never give any healthy interaction or anything like that. So in the discard phase, that's where you start realizing that there's nothing that you can do that can make them go back to the beginning of the relationship. So the narcissist, the covert narcissist, could be usually there are loads of spiritual leaders, and also people in churches, and that give a facade to everybody else that there's these great people that help everybody, that are good people, and the things that happen to them are because somebody very mean did things to them. And if they're not, if they are in a relationship, they will start talking, to their friends and making up stories, and just all lies about you. But not all lies, I should be more specific. They are very clever, so they will take a bit of truth, just a truth, and then they will surround it with lies. So that's why it's so confusing, because they take some truth and they surround it with lies. And the gaslighting at the end of the cycle is terrible. So I will link the gaslighting video if you don't know what that is. They're highly negative. They're covert aggressive. They have all the manipulation techniques that you can imagine, and they use all that, but you don't know until you know. So they appear as meek, humble, soft-spoken, humble, I said that, simple people and helpful people. Sometimes they appear as that. You won't think that person is a covert narcissist. And when nobody's looking, they use sarcasm continuously. They're very envious. If they compliment you, they will make sure to make you feel bad for something. And backhanded compliments, and loads and loads of resentment and anger, and also hatred. And yeah, they can do pretty dangerous things too, you know. So they are very dangerous people, the covert narcissists. And yeah, so the main things to look at are they blame you for everything that happens to them. You feel bad after interacting with them. To other people they look nice and fine and helpful, and they can be a bit weird once you realize, you see that they're always the victim, and they give you this sense of, oh, poor guy. You know, you feel like at the beginning you feel like, oh, I need to help him. Oh, look what's happening to him or her. How can I help her? This is terrible. But then nothing. It takes years and years to realize this. And, you know, and then you say, yeah, the abuse has happened over years and years, and then you need to heal. So it's a long road. So if you have any comments, please let me know. Write them down below. There's an alarm right now going on here, and I'm sorry for that. And if you want to do a coaching session with me, that's a new thing. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but let me know, and my email will be down below. And because online it's not counseling or therapy, it's mainly coaching, and I would love to help as many people as I can. And I would love to do this and help you if you're going through something like that. And I will start to do some videos in Spanish, and yeah, I'm going to be uploading them soon. I think that we need to raise awareness about this, because this is such a damaging thing, and it's rampant right now, and it's going on everywhere in the world. And yeah, since I speak Spanish and English, I feel like I have to do these videos in Spanish as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And since I'm a counselor, I have to help people. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing as well. And I'm going to do sessions online through Skype and all that. I'll see how I can put that together. If anybody wants to help me with that, let me know. Yeah, so I am such a user when it comes to software and all that. I will need to, you know, start something soon, because I want to help people with this. And yeah, so thank you so much. Please subscribe to this channel and share this video to anybody that might need this, that you think that may be going through this. And I really, really thank you for your support. Thank you. Bye.